He was maybe 13. Standing in the rain, no jacket, holding a piece of paper with my address written on it in handwriting I recognized. My own. I hadn't written it. 4 hours before that, I was at the laundromat on Clement Street. 8 p.m. on a Wednesday. I go when it's slow. Midweek, nobody's there. I bring a sandwich and sit with my phone and waste an hour. A man sat down next to me. Mid-40s, tired looking. The kind of tired that's not from one bad night. He said his dryer card was empty and asked if I had $1. I didn't have cash. I told him I could Venmo him if he had the app. He laughed a little. Said he didn't have a smartphone anymore. Then he looked at the floor for a second and said, "Actually, yeah, can I ask you something weird?" I work at a property management company. Nothing exciting. I answer maintenance requests, coordinate repairs, forward emails to people who ignore them. I've been doing it for 6 years in the same chair, same view of the parking structure across the street. I live 11 minutes from the office. I don't have a dog. I eat lunch at my desk most days. My life is not complicated. I used to think that was a good thing. He asked if he could borrow a piece of paper and a pen. I had both. I always carry a small notebook, old habit. He wrote something down, folded it, and asked if he could have my address. I know how that sounds. I don't know why I gave it to him. He didn't seem threatening. He seemed exhausted. There was something in the way he asked, like he already knew I might say no and had made peace with it. I wrote my address on a separate piece of paper. He thanked me, put both papers in his pocket, and moved his laundry to a different machine on the other side of the room. By the time my cycle was done, he was gone. I forgot about it before I even got home. If you've ever done something small for a stranger that you couldn't explain, hit that like button, because this goes somewhere I still haven't figured out. The knock came at 12:17. I checked my phone before I answered. Habit. The kid was soaked through, backpack on. That piece of paper in his hand, folded the same way the man had folded it. He looked at me and said, "Are you the address?" I said, "What?" He said, "My dad said go to the address if he didn't come home. He said you'd know what to do." I stood there in my doorway and I didn't say anything. The kid said, "He didn't come home. I let him in. I didn't know what else to do. It was midnight and raining, and he was 13. He sat at my kitchen table and I gave him a towel and some leftover rice because it was all I had ready. He ate it like he hadn't eaten since lunch, which I later found out was true. He didn't cry, he just kept looking at the door. I asked if he had a phone. He nodded. I asked why he didn't call someone. He said, "There's no one to call. Dad said you were the backup." I called the non-emergency police line. Told them what I had. A minor, a missing father, an address written on a piece of paper by a stranger in a laundromat. They sent someone. It took 40 minutes. While we waited, I found out the father's name was Derek. That they'd been living in the same two-bedroom in the outer Richmond for 3 years. That Derek worked nights restocking at a hardware store. That the kid's name was Caleb. I asked Caleb if his dad had seemed worried about anything lately. He thought about it. He started giving stuff away, Caleb said. Like a month ago. His good jacket. His watch. He said he was clearing things out. I felt something drop in my chest. Subscribe right now. Because what they found, I'm still not over it. They found Derek's car parked at Baker Beach at 2 a.m. He was alive. That part I need to say first. He was alive. But he'd been sitting there for 6 hours. And he had pills in his hand that he hadn't taken. And when the officer asked him why, Derek said he thought about Caleb going to the address. He thought about a stranger opening the door. He said he wanted to know if anyone would. I didn't know this man. I gave him a piece of paper with my address on it because he looked tired and the ask was so small it barely registered. And somewhere in the logic of someone at the end of their rope, that made me the backup plan. Not a friend, not a family member. A stranger who said yes to something minor on a Wednesday night. That was the whole plan. CPS got involved. There's an aunt in Fresno, and she's taking Caleb temporarily while Derek is somewhere getting help. That's all I know. That's all I was told. I drove Caleb to a temporary placement the next morning. He had his backpack. He didn't say much. When he got out of the car, he turned back and said, "Thanks for opening the door." Then he went inside. I still go to the laundromat on Wednesdays. I still bring a sandwich. Still sit with my phone. But I keep thinking about what Caleb said his father told him. Go to the address. He'll know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I still don't. I just didn't close the door. And I don't know if that was enough. I don't know if it mattered. I don't know if Derek is okay or if Caleb is okay or if any of it turned out the way it needed to. I just know I almost didn't answer. It was midnight. I was tired. I almost let it ring. Let it knock and go back to sleep. I I think about that more than anything else. If this story is sitting with you, subscribe and turn on notifications. Tell me in the comments, would you have opened the door? Share this with someone who would. I'll see you in the next